pithy intro. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 8:14 p.m. Pacific. That makes it 11:14 p.m. Eastern. I know the Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us for episode 230 of the podcast.
Yes, thank you for downloading on your podcatcher of choice. Thank you for following us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the others. All of those are appreciated by us. And hopefully appreciated by you, too.
And, of course, if you're watching live right now, you're watching at facebook.com/O The Anthem. Make sure you hit that bell, and it'll let you know when we go live, and you can come and join us like Kent is doing right now in the chat room. And you can be part of the show. Just make your comments or questions there. We'll talk about them as the show goes along. Also, you can find at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram, and you can join us there for more new updates week to week as well. And, of course, if you listen to this not while we're recording live, you can leave us a message or send a text to 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And that's, of course, the listener line. So make sure you join us there.
Yes.
And I don't want to leave her out. Special guest in studio with us this evening, Carly Cruz.
Carly,
you want to say hi? No?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
She's just looking.
All right. Well, she's exciting. All right. So I said I wanted
She's had a long day of sleeping. So.
A very long day of sleeping. I wanted to start off today with a surprise topic, so I'm going to hit Corey with that surprise topic now. Oh, yeah.
Sports ball.
After all of that talk, all of the study, all of the podcasts,
Yeah.
a B- in your fantasy draft. Oh, that's got to hurt.
It actually wasn't a B-, it was a C-.
C-?
Yeah.
Oi.
We're right in the middle of things. And you know what? It's okay. I went for a very specific type of draft. Mm-hmm. And let's see if the strategy pays off for me.
So let me ask you, can you see all of our scores?
Not in front of me.
Okay. Would we have to go to the website for that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. If I remember correctly, I got a C+, which was my whole point was going to be B- to C+. But if you're telling me C+, well.
You draft. No, I did get a B-. I'm sorry.
See?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get a B-. How many?
Here we go. B- for me.
What did I
are
get?
you looking
C+.
for you? Let's see.
Res ipsa locator. Latin for the thing stands for itself.
I assume you actually mean the calls available. Ow.
Oh yeah, I just I changed it.
You got a C+. So
I
beat you.
Yeah, no, that was my point. But you beat me by a shade of a letter grade.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so here's the thing. What I think Yahoo is basically thinking is everything is going to go exactly how they plan. Which, in theory, I have a mixture of a good solid base of a team, and then I have some questionable places. Mm-hmm. I'm not as strong at quarterback as I'd like to be between Jared Goff and Andrew Luck.
Okay.
But I think that one of the two of them are going to be the regular every week starter.
Sure.
Like if Andrew Luck can return to form, he's a top 10 quarterback. If Jared
gonna.
Goff, with all the offensive weapons that he has, like everybody in the Rams was drafted in the first like 3 rounds or 4 rounds of the draft.
That's because people are stupid. But
yeah,
anyway.
but I'm saying like he's got to throw to somebody.
Yeah.
He's going to have a great defense. So I think that I can expect progression from Jared Goff. And if Jared Goff becomes the best quarterback in the league this year, is anyone going to be like super shocked?
Yes, I would be super shocked.
I mean, he was a former number 1 pick.
Yeah, but so what's your other guy? The guy you rushed out and got the jersey for?
Oh, Leinart?
Leinart. Leinart. Wasn't he the number 1 draft pick?
Not number 1 overall.
Oh, just
Yeah.
number 1 QB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was Goff number 1?
No,
overall?
he wasn't the number 1 QB either. He was like the 3rd quarterback. He was taking number 11.
Oh.
But I was just like, oh, Arizona can't screw this up, and then they did. So
Wait,
it's not up to me.
Didn't you just say that the Rams can't screw this up? He's
No.
got
I said
I feel
when
like,
I was talking about Leinart being drafted by the Cardinals. I was like, the Cardinals Arizona can't screw this up.
Yeah,
and then they did.
And the Rams can't screw this up.
But listen, I
It's all for X.
I went running back, so I have the strongest running back tandem in the league,
including Le'Veon Bell.
No.
Oh, yeah. Somebody
who Rachel passed on with the first pick.
Somebody
for some
didn't
unknown
listen
reason.
to the podcast.
Yeah, I was a little bit butthurt about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, she doesn't read anything you write. She's not going to listen right now. It's not like she's actually going to hear these words that we're saying right now. So
no, but just one last thing. The 2 picks I had at the end of Nick Chubb and Geronimo Allison.
Yeah.
Well, I think, like Yahoo's predicting like Nick Chubb for like 5.77 points this week and Allison for 9.33. But I think that these are the types of players that by the end of the year, they're going to be more in like the 10 to 15 range. So it's about like, I'm buying them now because maybe by the time they have their big week, which could be week 1. I mean, you never know. But I'm saying like by the time they have their big week, I would like to have them on the team already rather than.
Yeah.
And I'd rather reach for those players at the end of the draft just to have them than.
Well, I reached early for Adam Thielen. Not that
pick
much.
Number
early.
7.
I mean, he was my third. I went running back, wide receiver as well. So
you went wide receiver.
Oh, I did. You're right. Wide receiver, running back.
Yeah.
And I reached for him on my second receiver. He was probably going to get chosen before we got down to my next pick. And last year, he was just a solid performer. Every single week, they were saying, 7 to 9 points.
Yeah.
And he put up 15 to 20 points every single week.
I remember the first week when we were walking to the Metro to go to Big Wings. Ugh. You had to make some sort of decision on your team. I can't remember what it was. Somebody was hurt, or like you only had one tight end and he was hurt and you needed to pick up a new tight end or something like that. And you were saying to yourself like, I don't know if I really need Adam Thielen. Maybe I'll drop him. And you dropped somebody else. And thank God you did, because
who I drafted in that? Who's the third running back for the Eagles last year? The short guy who ended up only fielding punts and
like Corey Clement or something like that.
I have no idea, but that was who it was. Yeah. So I dropped him, kept Adam Thielen. Best choice I could have made. Look at me, I'm a genius. So that's the Posse fantasy football.
Yeah.
Are you playing in another league this year?
No, I think the Fat Dog League is dissolving itself.
Well, did we adopt some of the players?
What?
Did we adopt some of the Fat Dog players?
No.
I can't remember who was in that league with you.
It was like Woodall and all them.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, no more.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's sort of dead on the vine because like we've had trouble keeping it at 10 teams here recently, and now we have like 9 people who want to play, and we can't find like that 10th to like round out the league.
Yeah, sad.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
well, guess who picked up a second team today?
You?
Me.
Is it a create league?
No, it's not. We could not put together 6 people who wanted to play fantasy football. If that gives you an idea how my office works. We could pick up more than 6 people for a fight club after work, but not for fantasy football. So, yeah. No, I was added. A friend had someone drop out of their league after already choosing a team.
Oh.
And I had to pick up. They were like, would you like to pick up this team? They were like, Le'Veon Bell. And I'm like, all right, so maybe this person knew what they were doing while drafting. Maybe not. Because he wasn't the number 1 overall pick. He was like the 3rd in our league. Yahoo was ranking him 3rd. So
yeah, I think there's some question as to whether or not he's going to play week 1.
Yeah.
I think people are a little bit worried because he hasn't played at all during the preseason, but I'm not. I think by the end of it, we're going to see, obviously I can't predict an injury or something like that, but if he plays his full regiment of games, he should be the number 1 guy at the end of it all. That's just my prediction.
Yeah. And I can't, unless he gets a positive drug test or.
But I also like,
But did you know Jameis Winston got a positive drug test?
On top of everything else that's going wrong with Jameis Winston right now?
Suspended for the first 4 games.
Well, no, he was suspended for the first 4 games for like beating up an Uber driver or something like that.
Oh, it says maybe it's the conduct policy.
Yeah.
Somebody posted drug policy, but it might be the conduct policy.
Yeah.
All right, well. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the story was, but I know it was.
Jesus
I think
Christ.
It was I don't know if it was like beating up or if it was like some sort of like sexual assault of an Uber driver or something. I don't know.
He's as bad as the Ravens' new kicker.
Well, the Ravens' new kicker is the victim of the violence.
I mean, I hear you say that, but I feel like
if Jameis got beat up by an Uber driver, well, first we'd have problems with Jameis. But I mean, like,
I feel like that story doesn't hold water. He's told 3 different versions of the story thus far, so.
Well, he doesn't know what happens according to him.
Well, he did give a full statement to police. He gave a full statement to the medic and a full statement to police, and then said he didn't remember anything at different points during the day today.
Yeah.
So that does not bode well. That's all I'm saying, is it doesn't bode well.
Well, I mean, he was also a kicker that wasn't Justin Tucker. That probably wasn't going to make the team, but might have made somebody else's team. But
I know. I know. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so was that enough sports ball for this?
Yeah, that fills me up on sports ball.
So let's while we're talking about the Ravens and the rest, let's head on down to the Baltimore corner.
Where you get the straight dope.
Exactly right. So big news. Did you get into it with Fenton this week, by the way?
No.
Did I see you having an exchange with Justin Fenton on Twitter?
No, it wasn't an exchange. It was just like me
You shouting at him and him muting you and never talking to you.
No, he responded to me. But I mean, like, it was basically like, I hate it when a news media is so tied to a certain number of people for access. So, like, Justin Fenton can't, if he's at a press conference with the mayor, and the mayor says something like, Baltimore has never been safer in its entire history. And if Fenton goes like, excuse me, Your Honor, bullshit, like, then he just doesn't get to go to the press conferences anymore.
Right. They're going to pull his
credentials. Yeah, it's easy enough for him to get blackballed from asking questions. So he has to moderate his ability of saying the thing that everyone's thinking without saying it in such a way that gets his credentials pulled.
Now, don't you think that if they as a newsroom agreed that they were going to pull no punches,
yeah,
is the mayor's office going to decertify the Baltimore Sun from coming to her press conferences?
I think it all depends on how egregious they can make it, or how it's a very fine line game at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Like if Obama had at any point said, we're not letting Fox News in anymore, then I think most people would have understood why, but then you would be in this argument over like, oh, they pulled it because they said that Obamacare they really fucked it up with Obamacare.
Right.
It's just like, is he so thin-skinned that he can't take some criticism? You know, like, it's just, it's so hard to find the line where you can straddle to make that work.
Oh. Sorry, we had some comments, and I can't. Are they deleted? I can't tell. Yeah, apparently the comments were deleted. Sorry, guys. But yes, so they have to straddle. They have to be PC, and that means that the real questions don't get answered, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean it's more so like we're talking a lot about the Suitor report here. Mm-hmm. The Independent Review Board, we talked about it last week, officially released their findings on Suitor's murder.
Yes.
Now, I have some problems with the information that they laid out as they laid it out makes a lot of sense, and I can see how they can say that it's not reasonable to assume that he wasn't murdered by the police because there's not enough time in which it was like 8 seconds.
Okay.
So whoever the hypothetical assassin would have 8 seconds to put Suitor's hand up to his own head and shoot him and get away. And he only has 8 seconds to do that. Okay. And Suitor is, before being trained as a Baltimore Police Department officer, was in U.S. Special Forces or something like that. Like, he had enough training throughout his life to know how to avoid getting, if I'm walking down the street with my gun in my hand, maybe there's some chance that in 8 seconds somebody could put it to my own head, shoot, and walk away.
But is
Suitor the same kind of
What if I stole Suitor's gun from the locker earlier, gave him someone else's gun, and then shot him with his own gun and took the one that he had in his holster?
I mean, I guess that's a hypothetical, but I mean, so here's my problem. It seems like, there's too many cops on the Independent Review Board.
You think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like 4 of them.
Right?
So, yeah, it's like 4 of the 7 people were cops or former cops or something like that. Not necessarily Baltimore City, but just like cops somewhere. Yeah. And I feel like the likelihood that they're willing to push on the information that they're given is less likely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you remember listening to Undisclosed when they were breaking down the footage of the Freddie Gray.
Oh, yeah.
And how they were looking at how Baltimore Police Department manipulated the numbers on the time code.
Yes.
to like make it seem like things didn't last as long as they did. But you can see like through the editing that they did on the back end of the camera website.
Yes.
Like how they did it. But nobody ever called them on it. Like, because nobody in the media felt like calling the Baltimore police on that bullshit. And nobody has the time to go into it. And that's the thing. Like, it feels like the independent review board was given a whole bunch of information. They went off of it. They met 6 times and they spent 50 hours total working on it. And that's just not enough time to really honestly get to the bottom of it. And what, like, I'm normally speaking, I'm not in the mind of having like conspiracy theorists or kooks on any kind of review board. But in this one situation, I feel like it would have been helpful.
Maybe
to have
just one?
One crazy person
Yeah.
who has the ability to like veto and just be like, anytime they're just like, well, it doesn't make any kind of sense that, we figured out it's only 8 seconds. And it's just like, those fucking police could change the time code on that camera. Is there any chance that happened? And they'd be like, oh, well, shit, Bob. Now I guess we got to look at that.
I mean, they don't have to look at that, but maybe you just
At
have it
least
out there on the record.
comes up in the meeting somehow. Like, yeah, I think that it would just...
Because the point I was going to make to you.
I do not feel like... the other thing, too, is that, like, literally everybody, no matter... all walks of life. I talked to fucking people who are in the Baltimore Police Department who said that cops killed Suitor.
Yeah.
I know people, and they weren't saying, like, I know the guy who did it, but they were like... allegorically speaking, or anagorically speaking, I think that a cop killed him. And everybody, it doesn't matter if you're a Trump supporter, Hillary supporter, if you think that we faked the moon landing, if you think the moon doesn't exist, like everybody, fucking everybody, regardless of anything, thought that the police killed him. And the only people who didn't were the Independent Review Board, the Baltimore Police Department, and Catherine Pugh. I don't even think she believes that it didn't happen. I think she just needs to believe it because if a cop had killed Suitor, then that'd be the end of her city. Like,
yeah, I was going to just point out that you make this claim about 8 seconds, and one of the things that I noticed people were doing is they were making claims of support based on the IRB report, and then not pointing out that so much of that report really relies on the Baltimore Police Department and their investigation.
Yeah,
like the 8-second claim is based on the cameras that were there.
Yeah.
Body cameras and the one CCTV camera.
Yeah.
But again, we've seen that the BPD has manipulated cameras before. And is it harder to do all, I think there was 3 cameras, 2 body cams in the CCTV. Is it harder to do that? Absolutely. Is it impossible to do it? Not at all. Not at all impossible.
The other thing that really bothers me too is that they obviously didn't. So they were given information and then didn't decide to go any further on the information. Right. So part of the thing that makes me think that he was killed by somebody else was the fact that there were 3 shots. Because if I was trying to kill myself, I would only need the 1 shot.
How do you shoot yourself in the head 3 times?
Yeah, I mean only 1 shot actually went in. There was only one
grazed
wound.
His head.
No, there was only 1 wound.
And by the way, the partner...
By the way, it's like a 200-page report. I'm like 76 pages into it. Yeah. And they haven't even floated the possibility that the police could be involved. Yeah. Like, that was the thing I got into with, like, Fenton, was I was just saying, like, well, if they're arguing that they honestly looked into it as a possibility, they haven't gotten to it in the first half of the report.
And he's like, keep reading, and you're gonna find one line on page 176.
I mean, they're like the part I was on when I stopped was talking about like the partner he was with being a suspect. But I never thought from the beginning that the partner would be the guy who did it.
He specifically chose that guy because he was unconnected to everyone.
Yeah, and it's way too much like circumstantial evidence that they put in, like, like he wasn't answering his lawyer's phone calls, and it's just like, is that the reason why he killed himself? Because he didn't want his lawyer in on.
And
it's like, no, because like because your lawyer fucking calls you all the fucking goddamn time when you're under investigation. Yeah. He's got to call you 5 times a day, checking in, getting them billable hours. Like,
he didn't pick up the phone for his girlfriend, wife, whatever she was.
Like his wife being like flabbergasted by this the most is like the thing. I like to say, let's follow the lead on the people who are actually closest to them when we follow stories like this. Like when there was the conspiracy theory that Scalia was killed by like the deep state or something like that. It was like Scalia's family is like, no, he was in poor health. He wasn't the Like, heart attack is not out of the realm of a possibility for a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate it if you stopped saying this. The same thing going on with the Molly Tibbetts case right now.
Oh, yeah, where the family's just like,
Yeah.
don't blame the illegals.
Yeah. Like, she would not want to be dragged into this fucking argument. And the same thing with what's the other one? Hillary Clinton killed... It's the DNC intern or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, like Seth Rich. Where it's just
also Hillary may have killed John McCain. Also,
yeah, crazy.
I love that. I saw a meme and it was John McCain sitting there like typing out, and of course the next frame is I have information that'll put Hillary in jail for life, and then it's Hillary.
Yeah,
like really. I mean, I complimented his tumor last week.
Hillary Clinton is like, I'm going to give him brain cancer. Like,
I complimented his tumor, and even I think that's a little bit far to go. Come on, guys.
Anywho, I think it's ridiculous that
I was gonna have her come up, but
every news agency in Baltimore just doesn't seem to really want to get to the bottom of it. If somebody in the Baltimore Sun newsroom had extra time and could go through and look at all the same things that the IRB did, I'm sure that they could come up with a different report. You know?
Yeah.
It's just they don't have the resources or time to do that. Nor do they have the time. I mean, it's like the Ronan Farrow story. Like, have you been reading all that with NBC?
I've been trying to follow along, but like I don't think I missed the first bit of that story, so I missed it, like how it developed. It's the Harvey Weinstein thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it was the story that he had on that he eventually published on the New Yorker, and said that NBC had said that it wasn't ready to go. Like, it didn't have enough sources. It wasn't verifiable enough. And
people are saying that NBC just killed the story to protect Weinstein.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably to protect other people who might get caught up in follow-up to said story. And it just seems like nobody wants to, like, the Baltimore Sun and the local stations and stuff like that are killing this on behalf of City Hall. Like, we've been given the answer that'll be suitable enough for us. We're not going to look into it more, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's basically where I stand. I don't have the time to personally go and try and figure out who killed John Suitor, nor do I have the resources to do so.
I mean, but arguably you have the time. You could do it if you wanted to.
I mean, I guess if I wanted to, but then I wouldn't be doing any of the other things that I'm doing all the time. Yeah. So
start a podcast.
Yeah. Suitor Files.
But yeah,
episode 1, we're going through page 1 of the report. All right, here's all the people in the table of contents.
It's the kind of thing where, like, you're right. We don't have time. We don't have the energy. We don't have all the stuff to go through it. I just hope that somebody at the medical examiner's office stays strong and says, you know what? We said it was murder or homicide.
Yeah.
We're going to stick with homicide. That's what we believe it to be, despite the IRB report, because all the benefits and everything that has paid out or will pay out is based on that, not on the IRB report.
Right.
So, I think you brought it up, or maybe somebody else did, about the let's see who stands to gain by it being suicide over murder.
I mean, I just don't get, like, killing himself on the scene.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't seem to make any kind of, like, because if it was a suicide that they were going to be able to overturn, then she would lose all her benefits anyway. So I feel like there's a more compelling way of committing a suicide to make it seem like it was a murder instead. Yeah. If that's the logic. If the logic is that if he just goes into the bathroom or goes into the garage and shoots himself in the mouth, then his widow doesn't get any kind of benefits.
Yeah.
But if he's killed in the line of duty, then she does. So how do I make my suicide look like a murder?
Well, he doesn't have to be in the line. It just has to be, he can't be suicide.
Right. But I'm saying, like, how do you do that? Like, how's the easiest way for him to do that? And I still feel like this one is just like it doesn't make any goddamn sense, you know?
I feel like the high-speed chase without a seatbelt's a better way to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's already done that.
It hasn't been in an accident before?
No, I mean, like, he was involved in a high-speed chase with just trying to like apprehend a suspect that and that's the other thing. So the one other thing that really fucking bugs me, and to be fair, reporters brought this up at the press conference with the IRB, is that the independent review board kept getting the members of the GTTF wrong. Like they kept saying like Wayne Jenkins, who had took a plea deal and said that he was guilty and to give information to the federal officials.
Yeah.
So it's like, no. He was the one who was most against.
Yeah.
Like he went to trial. Like they found him guilty. Like he didn't cooperate at all.
But again, if you only meet 6 times for 50 hours, this is what happens. You get a few names.
And I don't
wrong.
feel like any of them, I don't feel like all 6 of them combined spent 50 hours like in a room discussing this. You know,
no,
I feel like it was probably like an hour here and an hour there, and like it was 6 different occurrences. But they also got lunch, and they were talking about like oh, the Orioles really suck this year. Oh, you're telling me, Jim. Like
speaking of which, Kent in the chat wants to hear us talk about the Orioles about to break the league record. I'm assuming he means the league record for losses.
I'm fine with that. Like at this point, just go for go for the gold. Like.
Go for draft picks. But we already got that 30-3 record. We got the earliest elimination from postseason play. Mm-hmm. Why not just go for the worst record ever?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a really good player at number 1 too. Like one that hopefully the Orioles can't screw up. So
I mean, you say that, but anyway,
I'm so bummed too though. But we trade
Manny.
Manny. We trade Gausman, and he becomes a fucking ace with the Braves.
Yeah.
Trade Brad Brock, who looked like he couldn't find a strike zone if like it was like directly in front of his face, and now he's pitching to like 0.69 ERAs.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
I mean, the question has to be asked: how much of it is the Orioles staff versus?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is just like Gausman goes from being in a hopeless situation to being in a pennant race.
Yeah, that's also
and feels like the fire kick up on him a little bit.
And I want to say that hi to Flash. Flash is joining us in the chat. And if you're listening to this not on Tuesday, you want to make sure that you go into facebook.com/O The Anthem and make sure you click that bell so it lets you know with notifications that we are live, so you can join us in the chat just like Kent has, just like Flash has, just like Mohammed has, and Anya and Roberto and Patty and Jiho and a whole slew of people tonight in the chat. And welcome to everybody who's there right now. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, to wrap up the Suitor thing, hopefully the medical review board or the medical examiner's office stays strong and says, listen, you did a half-ass investigation, and oh, surprise, surprise, 4 cops found out that the cops did nothing wrong.
Yeah, like
so. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. It just none of this sits right.
I've been saying disband the police department for years now. Are we at that point finally?
Oh, we've been at that point. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've been at that point, like
harder.
post Freddie Gray. We should have just taken that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was listening to The Wilderness, which is like my favorite like thing to get upset at every single week.
Yes.
Because it's like the history of the Democratic Party, but told by a Democratic Party operative.
Yeah.
So like anytime it's something negative, he finds some. It's John Favreau of Crooked Media.
Right.
Finds some sort of way of like.
Well, it wasn't so bad.
Well, yeah. So Obama killed a whole bunch of people with drones, but everybody was doing it at the time. Like, it's like, no, you're gonna go on your regular show every single week and say like Trump should be guilty of war crimes for all the things that he did, and you're not gonna say the same thing about Obama killing innocent people. But beside the point, they had Keith Ellison on there talking about like what's the future of the Democratic Party between like the progressive and the moderate wings, and he's just like, well, I decided that it's better for me to be a part of the party that we already have than start something new, because if we start something new, then it's going to take time, and the Democrats are the most recognizable brand to defeat a Republican in 2020, not like a new third party that comes out of nowhere.
Sure.
And I just thought, much the same as I did with the Baltimore Police Department, what if it doesn't get better?
Yeah.
Like, what if
it's
just going to be like this forever?
Yeah.
Democrats are going to consistently lose. They're never going to have a strong enough candidate. Like, wouldn't you want to just start now on the process of getting to the party that you eventually want?
But when everybody's so fucking angry, too, just like...
Yeah, I mean, like...
screw the Democrats and start something new.
I mean, like, it'd be like saying, like, we're throwing away 2020, hypothetically.
Yeah.
But if I said Democrats aren't going to win the presidency for the next 10 years or the next 3 elections or something like that,
yeah,
wouldn't you just want to start a new party that isn't the Democrats right now?
Yeah.
And like get the growing pains out of the way while you're in the wilderness, you're in the woods, like
in the wilderness.
Yeah, well, that's why that's part of why the show is called that.
So let me ask you this:
it just feels like it'd be better to tie it in. It'd be better to get rid of the Baltimore Police Department as it is right now and start fresh.
Yes,
because shit's already bad.
It's only gonna get worse.
There's no way it gets better. It's no way like just tomorrow all the cops wake up and they're just like, we done wrong. Like they're not. The only way this fixes itself is if you start anew.
So
probably with somebody who is in the FOP3.
And this is the thing I dislike about too many political operatives is that they have a very short-term way of thinking of history. Let me ask you a question. Where did the Republican candidate for president finish in 1852?
1852.
1852.
Trying to rack my brain right now.
Look at his brain rack.
Where was Lincoln? That's how I'm trying to figure out where I am right now.
All right, I'm going to give you a hint. 1860 was Lincoln.
Okay, so prior to Lincoln, it was... Well, I mean, like, they were the third party at that point, right?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. In 1852, the Republicans did not field a candidate for president.
They were the Whigs.
They were a local... They were first running people for Congress in 1854.
Right.
They did run a presidential candidate in 1856. They won the presidency in 1860. So listen, John, all this bullshit about like, oh, why are we going to... No, the example is there. One of the two national parties right now was not in the national running in 1852, ran a candidate in 1856 that lost, and then won in 1860.
And I mean, like that. At the end of that podcast, that particular episode, which is this week's episode, if you wanted to listen to it, at the very end, like throughout the whole thing, it's just like Democratic Party realized that they can't ever interfere in elections ever again, because they start with McCarthy, and then they talk about Bernie Sanders and Hillary, and it's just like they have to be completely neutral and never do it at all. And then at the very end, it's just like the Democratic Party angered a lot of people by picking Andrew Cuomo over Cynthia Nixon in the New York gubernatorial election. It's just like, why the fuck would you do like you're not learning.
Nope, they're not learning at all.
And like Schumer giving up like 15 judges for like nothing. Just like, did you hear that one?
To get a Senate building named after a dead Republican, you are giving up 15 judges.
Well, not even that. It's just like they said, like, hey, you want to go home at a regular time and start campaigning? He's like, fuck as hell, I do. Just like, all right, well, just sign off on these 15 awful judges, and it's just like,
all right, well,
yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Schumer, by the way, who doesn't have
I really just want like whatever Democrat walks into the halls of Congress with like a pool stick and just breaks it over a table, and he's just like, who wants some, motherfucker? That's the one I'm voting for. You know, like Pelosi and Schumer are hiding underneath of a table going like, please don't hurt us. Like, if Kamala Harris walks into the Senate building and just snaps a pool cue and she's just like, who wants some of Stabby? Then I'm going to her office tomorrow and signing up to like be her communications director or something like that. I want to be involved in that. Like, just give me somebody with a little bit of fight in them, for like Christ's sakes.
I do have to turn to the chat and what's going on in the chat right now. Sorry to hear about Flash talking about her arrest, which is very upsetting.
Yes.
Sean, welcome to the podcast chat. Sean, mentioning that the amount of good, decent, and honest cops we have serving now is too few. Too few. Some would say zero. But, you know, that's... I mean, I would say zero, but that's fine. And Flash says, Google cheat. As if I Googled the answer to that question of who was the presidential candidate in 1852.
Yeah.
There was no Googling. I know you guys might not have been able to see my hands, but my hands were... Actually, you might not be able to see me right now. No, you can't. All right. I was not Googling.
You've been gesticulating the whole time.
I was pulling out. I know these things, and I was just pulling out. Anyway, so let's say just bullies with a badge. Lincoln's Republican. Sean says Lincoln's Republican Party at the time was more like the modern Democratic Party or the old Democratic Party before superdelegates and stuff. Yes, kind of true. At that time, it was the Democrats and the Whigs. The Whigs were the conservative party. So.
It's hard to describe exactly to people how things switched.
Yeah,
but basically it's like you remember when the Republicans in the Bush era, the W. Bush era, were like, we have to become more accepting to Latino voters because they're going to be the next big voting bloc in America. And we should get them in on Republican policies before they become the biggest bloc.
Yes.
And before they get taken by the Republicans. And how they just completely gave up on that idea. It's like, that's kind of what the Democrats did with the Republicans and the South.
Yes.
Like, they sort of realized that, like, a black voting population was going to be part of a winning narrative for the Democrats. And as soon as they started supporting more black issues, then they sort of fell off from the South and things sort of switched there.
Listen, Democrats, we've done it before. The party split for very good reasons. Some of the people of the party were too conservative and didn't believe in moving forward. That sounds kind of like the situation we have right now. Mm-hmm. And we split in 1948. And there was a Dixiecrat party, which was all Democrats from the South, and there was a Democratic Party. They both put up candidates for president. 1948 Dixiecrat Party presidential candidate. Go. Any ideas?
No, I was in and out of that. I'm sorry.
1948 Dixiecrat, the offshoot from the Democrats. They put a presidential candidate up.
Oh God,
who was it?
Oh shit. Was it Wallace?
Nope. Strom Thurmond, who was in the Senate until 1998 as a Democrat, because he and Mr. Byrd from West Virginia left for the Dixiecrats. When that party folded, came back to the Democratic Party because they were so solidly going to win their states that it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's a little politics background and history for you. So we're at 40 minutes here. Let's not go too long tonight. Let's move on to the other topics of the week. Kavanaugh, yeah, all right.
Do you have Cavanaugh Mania?
Have you played Kavanaugh Bingo? Unless the answer is, I don't know why we're having these hearings. You probably didn't win.
This whole thing is just a fucking charade. Like it's so hilarious to watch. And again, like there's people in the crowd who are getting arrested. Like people in the gallery getting arrested to try and delay this shit.
Yep, including Piper Perabo of Coyote Ugly fame.
Yeah, I just don't. It's shocking to me that the Democrats are so cowardly that they can't even figure out, they can't even get their lead from somebody else. Like, I feel like whenever the crowd was going nuts and causing a delay in the hearing, like Booker should have just been like trying to like flip his desk or something like that. Like anarchy, like just rile him up, like get him going. The problem is that that nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to I'm not saying punch somebody in the face and get arrested or something like that. But I'm saying do literally everything you can to make this thing. If Cory Booker took his time when he's going through his questions with Kavanaugh, and instead of going over hypotheticals well, what if you say that this case that's currently in the Texas Court of Appeals goes to the Supreme Court about abortion? Well, where would you because, Kavanaugh's just going to sit there and go well, I don't have all the case files in front of me. I can't speak to a particular case that's going through the court system right now because I don't know where it's going to be when it would eventually get to the Supreme Court, which is where it would be in my purview. He's just going to go around those questions. Yeah. Just ask him, if I was a Democrat and you gave me 4% of the things he's ever written, which is complete.
If you could put people into slavery again, would you do that? Answer honestly, you're under arrest.
It'd be like you have to make a judgment as to whether or not me and Rob are good brand ambassadors for you, and you only listen to 4 episodes of the podcast.
I mean,
just
if anyone wants 4,
I've learned everything I need to know based on 4 episodes. I watched all 4 Drinko de Mayos. I feel like I know these guys. They're drunks. So they're gonna be great here at Budweiser.
Yes.
I don't know, take your time being fucking outrageous. How about that? Just as how much fucking how much play do you think on CNN it would get if Booker's just sitting across from Kavanaugh and they got the split screen up there and he's just like, "Hey, Kavanaugh, when'd you lose your virginity?" It's just like, what?
Answer honestly.
It's like, what? You're under oath. You gonna talk? You gonna answer? It's just like, well, I mean, I think it was like 20 or so, and it's just like, oh, late. I was hoping it would be somewhere in the 4% of the documents that we got, but we didn't. So I guess I'm just gonna have to move on to other things. So 20, is that before you met your wife or after you met your wife? Oh, before. So there was somebody else.
Oh.
So you don't really care about like, this whole like having sex before marriage thing, do you? Yeah, of course not. Nobody does. Just all the religious people who are backing you. I get it. Totally. So you ever smoked pot before? Ever been around pot before? Like just like do all the like ever been to Thailand? Like
in the end, though, this is the thing. They can delay.
Just bring everything back to like, we only got 4% of the documents, so I don't have much to go off of here. So I'm just gonna ask you a whole bunch of zany off the wall shit.
Yeah. You ever been with a man before? Answering under oath. Just so you know.
Have you ever thought about what it would be like to be with a man? You don't actually have to go the whole way, but I mean, like, if you thought about like what it would be like to diddle Brad Pitt, then I guess that's something I'd like to know.
Just keep in mind, you're under oath.
You're under oath. I'm a senator. I'm asking you questions. Yeah. You're just a citizen at this point.
I think, though, in the end, the inevitability is that they will push through the nomination. This is why the true answer isn't to delay. The true answer is for all of the Democratic senators to leave.
No.
To go to Bethesda and hide out in a hotel somewhere and live a little rough, but to leave. Because if they don't have quorum, they can't proceed. That's the only way to stop the whole thing. You can only stop it if they don't have quorum.
Can't they get quorum with the Republicans?
You need two-thirds. Two-thirds of the eligible voting people have to be there.
Yeah.
So, great. Leave. And now I get that you want to grandstand. I mean, you're naming off people's names. Booker and Kamala's in that as well, isn't she? Yeah. So they want to grandstand. They want to. They have elections, so they want to get up here and be.
Well, I mean, like Kavanaugh, I wouldn't say leave right now, because if you leave right now, you're just leaving Kavanaugh with a bunch of Republicans.
No, they can't have a hearing. They don't have quorum. The Republicans make up 1/2 plus 1 of that committee.
Yeah.
They don't have quorum if the Democrats don't show up.
I thought you were talking about have quorum on the vote.
Well, they don't have quorum on the vote if on that day the Democrats don't come either.
Yeah.
But they can stop the hearing by not having quorum for that committee.
They didn't have all the Republicans there when they started the thing.
But they had some Democrats.
Yeah. Oh, all the Democrats were there on time because they were trying to get the thing stopped and thrown out and delayed.
And because no one understands parliamentary procedure, they don't understand that the best thing they could do is flee. I mean, listen, there was a case where the Texas State Police crossed the border into Oklahoma to arrest state senators and bring them back to Austin to have a vote because they didn't have quorum and they had shut down the government by hiding out in Oklahoma. And they were like talking about going to war between Oklahoma and Texas because the state police crossed the border to arrest all these senators. Like, that's madness. That's what you need to do. Yeah. Go to Canada. All the senators go to Canada.
Everyone take a trip to Chuck Schumer's party palace.
Well, that's getting a little too close to home. I don't know if you've heard the other.
Don't want to get in any kind of Kavanaugh trouble here.
Yeah, exactly right. Anyway, so it's not over, but it's inevitability.
Oh, I do. Oh, if I was a Democrat, or I could even do that. What? This is the other thing I don't get. Why don't people who aren't part of a party just make political advertisements?
I mean, we could, but why would you spend the money?
Well, I mean, like I could make a cheap video with like public images, like the what do you call it? Like no modification, free reuse
Creative
kind of
Commons?
thing. Yeah, Creative Commons images. Just put it out there and just being like I haven't been able to read all of Kavanaugh's writings, but I assume that somewhere in this 96% is the time he fucked up Badger. And just show a picture of a badger and then just, promote it to 100,000 people on Facebook and just see what happens. Just cause chaos. I mean, like, it's kind of a Russia method of doing things, but like...
Yeah, and that's the problem is that Facebook's shutting down. Now, Twitter you'd be fine on.
Well, I'm not Russian, so I mean, like, I'm just an American citizen with some issues.
They are looking for people who are trying to skew results. Now, again, Twitter, you'd be fine. Because apparently Jack is, like, calling up people at Twitter and being like, hey... what's his name? Alex Jones stays on the platform. Do not deplatform him. Like, okay, all right, well, sure.
I don't get what is in it for Twitter.
Jack is a racist. That's what it is.
I feel like we're gonna find out like someday, like when it's just like, all right, you gotta eliminate all racists off Twitter, and it's just like there's 15 people on Twitter now. like really? Wow, things got out of hand.
Yeah, you know.
Lena Dunham was on the list.
I mean, kinda.
I'm just saying, it's weird. It's just
Isn't she? She really
seemed like she was on the team. Like,
no, she really hates Palestinians. So
does she?
I think so.
Oh,
She's very pro-Israel. So
okay.
that, I mean, in my book, makes her a racist. Don't know. I don't know if you think that Palestinians are less than human.
I don't think anyone's less than human.
The understood you.
Right.
If you shoot them at the border, if you call them animals, those kinds of things, well, then yes, you could probably be fine and get away with that. Speaking of not getting away with it, Bob Woodward is still hard at work.
Yeah.
Getting the quotes. The quotes.
How much? Is there a question you'd like to or a statement you'd like to hear less as president of the United States than, "Hey, Bob Woodward wrote a book about you."
Not good. Not good.
Oh, it's the Ralph gift. Like, I'm in danger.
Yes. I think it's also a bit of like, Bob's sitting back and he's like, time for another Pulitzer. Okay.
Just got to go hang out in the lobby of the White House for a while.
Which apparently is basically what he did. He just hung out until somebody walked up to him and like, Bob.
Same thing that happened with the In Fire and Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which just tells me I don't know what's going on in that White House. But I think basically somebody walked up to him and like Deep Throat, do we have to go to the garage or can we just sit here? Like, what's the situation? No? Okay, well, we'll just hang out right here then. Yeah, people are going to walk by. They're not really going to notice. In fact, we might get some more quotes if you just wait long enough for... Oh, Bobby. Yeah, what was that thing you said about Trump?
What I would love is, I mean, like, how old is Bob Woodward at this point? Like 80-something?
Yeah, he's got to be in his upper 70s. I mean, he was in his 30s in the 70s, so that was 40, 50 years ago. So yeah, he's probably like late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, so...
Still kicking.
Wouldn't it be funny if, like, Trump's just like, none of this shit happened, nobody said any of these things, and Bob Woodward's just like, all right, so here's the public Google Drive of all the interviews I conducted. Everybody was on deep background. Now it's out in the open. Here's Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying that John Kelly said that Trump is an idiot. Enjoy.
And he's just like, what the fuck do I care?
Yeah,
I'm going to get my Pulitzer and I'm going to go home, all right?
Go ahead, try me. See how long I last.
You know what, Trump? I'll be in Washington long after you are, so...
I'll be writing stories about you in jail when I'm in jail.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, if you're Bob Woodward, you just put your faith in the fact that no jury would ever convict you. Like, I'm fucking Bob Woodward. Yes. I broke every story that you've ever had in the last part of the 20th century. Enjoy. This is how I did it.
I was breaking stories when you were breaking water in your mama.
But a little bit of like, hey, this is how the sausage gets made.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to like it, but this is how the sausage gets made. Do you want to get Nixon out of the White House? I did it. And this is how I did it. Only with tape, not with electronic voice recorder. Although I really would like to see Bob Woodward wearing his secret recording device into the White House. And it's a tape player tucked into his back of his shirt. Big mic.
He's got one antenna just on his shoulder, like.
Yeah, they said they wanted a wireless. I didn't really understand why. It doesn't seem like it's very slick, but okay.
It's just like the idea of like fucking Hope Hicks walking up. It's just like, oh, thank God, Bob Woodward. I can tell you anything. Like,
to be fair though, if you had an antenna spinning on your shoulder, I'm not sure anybody would notice. Like, it would just be like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Is that lady? It's a Lady Gaga collection, 2017. Okay, cool.
It's the 2015 Gaga.
Yeah, By the way, I don't know if you saw my Binge or Cringe post on Instagram. You guys should be following along at Robert N. Cheek on Instagram. Binge or Cringe, 2015 Valentinos that look like Minnie Mouse shoes, if you ask me. The pink bows.
There was a lot of binges though.
A lot of binges. Girls make no sense to me. I think that's because everybody who said binge knew that they cost like $900.
By the way, I got caught in an Instagram ad.
Oh God!
It had Dev Patel and Javier Bardem in it. And I'm just like, well, I'm gonna click on whatever the fuck this is. It turned out it was like for some upscale clothing company. And like they were gonna have like little episodes to like talk about their new fall collection or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't actually watch the videos after I found out it was like an ad.
Got me.
Got me. Why did I click on the ad? Why did I assume this was free? Like, but I was like looking through and it's just like I actually like fingered through the clothes a little bit and I saw like a jacket and I was just like, if
I kind of like that.
kind of like it. I could see myself maybe purchasing this, and then I clicked on it and looked at the price.
$500.
No, not even close. You want to take another guess?
$1,500.
More.
Really?
Yes.
Too motherfucking much. That's how much.
It was a blazer, and it was
Okay.
$4,995. And it was just like, yeah, never gonna be that rich. Never gonna. There's
Never gonna care that much.
There's never gonna be a time where I'm just like, get me my $5,000 blazer.
I was
Costs more than Rob's car.
It does. It's worth more than my car. I was telling somebody about I can't remember the comedian now. It might have been Kevin Hart, or it might have been what's that Indian comedian who's like the biggest comedian in the world right now? Damn. Gosh. I watched the special on
Russell Peters?
Russell Peter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either him or Kevin Hart has in their rider that for a one night or for one show, they need 4 black T-shirts. And then for a 2 shows, they need 8 black T-shirts. And they'd never wear the same T-shirt twice. He's like, I wear it, I take it off, I throw it in my special bag. And my assistant knows that that's my go donate bag. But I only wear it once. I don't wear it more than once because it's never as black as it is the first time. I want to be that rich. I don't want $5,000 blazer. I want to never wear the same black T-shirt twice. I want to just.
You just want to walk outside. You want to get out of the shower, pick a black T-shirt out of your hanger, out of your closet, and then just press the dash button to get a new one delivered.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would 100% do that. $5,000 blazer though? No, never. Never knew. I mean, I feel like it's spoiled to wear a T-shirt once, even though I like the Samaritan House or Good. What's it called? Goodwill.
Yeah,
that's right down the hill from my house in the hills. Is like, all right, listen, enough with the fucking black T-shirts. It's L.A. It's
Nobody
hot.
wears this much black.
Nobody wants this much black. You've dropped off 600 black T-shirts in the last year. We don't want any more. Fine.
Go to the Red Cross.
Just anywhere else. Anywhere else. But yeah, speaking of things that we don't want anymore, Colin Kaepernick back in the news.
Wait, who said we don't want it anymore?
I mean, you do. I'm sorry.
With Kaepernick.
Your people don't want him anymore.
Shut up.
By that, I mean the alt-right, of course. But 2 things in the news for 2 things this week. Cap is, number 1, beats the summary judgment motion against the NFL. So the case will continue.
It's even more than that. If you remember us talking about Tom Brady and Deflategate back in the day, you'll remember that we said he was going about it all wrong because he just sued the NFL.
Yeah.
And tried to avoid the NFL with their independent arbiter who would decide the case.
Right.
So Brady was trying to skip that part and just sue the NFL, but then the lawsuit eventually turned into you have to go to the arbiter first.
Yeah.
And then the arbiter decided stuff, and then basically they sued again, and then it went back and forth until eventually it was like, no, you got to follow the arbiter's ruling.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the collective bargaining agreement.
But he had already served the suspension by that time.
Well, the Patriots had already given up the draft pick, I think.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it was like basically the only thing that was left to do was the suspension.
Which he served.
Yep.
All 4 games.
But Kaepernick decided to, with his lawyer, Mark Garagos, decided to go the other way.
Is Mark Garagos his fucking...
Yeah.
I gotta start listening to Reasonable Doubt, I guess.
Yeah, they got into it good at the end of, not him and Adam, but him and the other lawyer that's on the team and the legal analyst for SI or something like that.
I don't want to support Adam Carolla, but I suppose I have to now.
It's so funny though when Garagos is like supporting someone like Kaepernick, and you hear Carolla going like, "Well, it doesn't make sense why he isn't on an NFL team," and it's like the only like lefty thing that he'll say ever. But then like seconds later, he'll be like, "Eric Garcetti, I don't even understand this city and the homeless." He goes right back on his tinge. But I mean, like,
just clear the people. I got all the cops sitting next to my restaurant here, and I can't get one person moved out from in front of it. That was my Garagos.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was more Corolla than Garagos, but it's.
I think I just went right in the middle between.
Yeah.
The two. Anyway, go ahead.
Anywho, so Cap is now legally allowed to sue the NFL.
Yes.
Which is not going to go well for the NFL, I can imagine. They were really hoping that the arbiter that they hired and paid for would come on their side on this one, and he didn't. So now I assume that they're going to file a lawsuit here soon. I mean, in some district that's going to be very helpful for them, maybe Texas or something like that.
See, but they can't. They have to file in a place where the team is where it's aggrieved. They're going to have to do the Northern District of California, I think.
But couldn't they argue that because maybe the Cowboys said something about not signing him out loud, then they could do it in Texas?
But then they wouldn't be doing it in a friendly part of Texas, though. They'd be doing it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
It's not like Corolla's thing where it's like the East Texas.
You find a P.O. box in the middle of nowhere. And
right. Yeah. It has to be where a team is. So, I mean, like they might have better luck with like St. Louis, Missouri, or actually probably not St. Louis. Damn, where would you go? Milwaukee? Not Green Bay, Wisconsin? Somewhere that's real white and really doesn't like Kaepernick. That'd be where I would try to transfer it to. But nonetheless, he beat the motion. He's moving forward. If you are, what's his name, the commissioner?
Goodell.
Are you calling up all 30 NFL franchise owners and just being like, will somebody give this fucker a job? Just somebody. Just take him. Make an offer. Make him say no. So that we can beat this.
I think at this point they can't do anything, because if they do try and make an offer like that, they're going to Kaepernick's people is going to make the sense that this is how we can prove that you guys were blackballing him.
Because as soon as we won, you went out.
You made an offer as soon as, and you made an insulting offer just to make him turn it down, just to.
But it's a catch-22. I mean, that's the kind of thing where, you got to think that these guys are like, listen, I'm going to move some money around in Malaysia, and I'll transfer that to Sri Lanka, and you can just pick up the difference in that over the course of the next year, and we're all going to pony up money for you to pay for Kaepernick. Give him a decent offer. Bring him. Who doesn't have a backup? Who needs a good backup?
I was listening to Simmons earlier today, and he was talking about the backup in Cincinnati, and it's somebody I literally have never heard of.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with football. I've never heard of this guy's name. So if Andy Dalton goes down, they're in a lot of fucking trouble.
Except for, isn't the owner super racist in Cincinnati?
Are they all?
I mean, they are probably, but super racist lady. And isn't it a lady who owns a team in Cincinnati?
Oh, no. That you're thinking about Marge Schott, who used to own the Reds.
The Reds!
Yeah.
Oh, but look at that, though. I pulled that out of somewhere.
Man, right? Marge Schott is so lucky she wasn't the owner of the Reds in this era.
No, yeah, she's lucky she died. Yeah.
Her problem, if nobody who knows Marge Schott, she did an interview with SI, it was 86 or 7 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing was just it started out with what kind of things from outside of baseball did you bring into running the Reds? And she's like, well, Hitler had a lot of really great ideas. And you could hear the reporter just go well, I mean, other than that, it's just no, I think I want to stick on Hitler for a little bit.
Oh, thanks, Marge. Yeah.
Really coming out strong. And then everyone was making Marge Schott with the Hitler mustache and stuff like that.
But by the way, still owned the team for many years after
she
that.
Died.
Yes.
She owned it till death. And then Donald Sterling gets kicked out over not nothing, but I mean
comparatively nothing.
Comparatively to let's keep on bringing up Hitler.
Well, and Sean brings up an interesting topic in the chat here, which is the other part of Colin Kaepernick's best week ever, comparatively. He signs a Nike deal, and everyone loses their damn mind.
Well, apparently, he's been on this Nike deal.
They haven't announced it, though.
Yeah, they've been secretly funding Kaepernick this whole time.
Yes.
Taking all that Jordan money and secretly funneling it to Kaepernick. At first, when I saw the ad, though, I didn't think it was real. I thought somebody just made
cut an ad. Yeah.
It created a fake ad.
I don't want to say it's bad. It's not that it looks bad, and that's why it seems cut. It looks like there's no way Nike's going to do that. Yeah. No. That's a fan ad. Good job, fan, with the editing. But no, it's real. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I don't feel like Nike anybody who is really upset about this probably isn't buying Nike shit.
We're wearing New Balances anyway, right? That's basically it.
I like that meme where it's I'm never buying Nike again, and it's people in New Balances and
Crocs,
grills and
Crocs.
All Live Matter. Yeah.
Yes.
I to me, it's so amusing to watch people go all crazy about this. Because I also like the one that I've seen literally a million times. It's the overworked Twitter joke of the week, which is everybody burning their Nike gear. How about you donate it to the homeless veterans that you care so much about?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Again, that makes perfect sense to me. Like,
well, and I don't get the burning thing because you already gave Nike your money.
Yeah.
And some people are burning like 10, 15-year-old stuff. And I'm just like, yo, bro, it's not like you gave Nike any money in the last decade. They don't care.
The politically conscious corporation is like something new that I think that we're going to be dealing with a lot more. I mean, there's already sort of parts of this, but I mean, like, did you see the call to boycott In-N-Out because
Yes.
they donated like $25,000 to a Republican campaign committee or something like that?
Yes.
Like, chill the fuck out. Like, yes, the person who runs In-N-Out is like a religious zealot, like the person who runs Chick-fil-A.
Now, and here's what I'll say. I have argued that Chick-fil-A, I'm only eating there because they have changed their policy of donating corporate money to political campaigns. The difference is Chick-fil-A is a publicly held corporation, and In-N-Out is a family closely held corporation.
Yeah.
So, technically speaking, a donation from In-N-Out to a campaign is the same as a donation from the person to a campaign, except for it's not limited because corporations can give as much as they want to.
Oh, thank you, Citizens United.
Yes. So, I mean, in the end,
Thank God we have Kavanaugh to take care of that one.
yeah. I don't agree with the politics. And in the end, he wasn't donating. They didn't donate to a candidate. They donated to the party.
Yeah.
And as Corey is so fond of arguing that there are still good Republicans, they're still human Republicans, right?
Very few.
But you still believe in the grand old party.
I like the theory of the Republican Party I like the theory of the Republican Party. I almost don't like any of the Republicans anymore. But you could say the same thing about, like, I like the theory of a lot of the Democrats. I just don't like any of them. Like, they're all fucking worthless.
Exactly. And my dad, who has arguably been a Trump supporter all along, well, I think he would actually say the same thing because he doesn't see himself as a supporter of Trump. He just says he's a Republican and he's going to continue to back his party. I think that's a secret way of saying he's a Trump supporter. But, the old guys who, I don't know, own corporations or, have wasted their lives talking to a man in the sky, they are all the same. They're going to continue to do what they are going to continue to do.
Yeah.
And if my dad had a corporation with $25,000, then he'd probably donate it to the Republicans too. But you know what he wouldn't do? He wouldn't donate it to Andy Harris because he hates Andy Harris. Hates him.
Good.
He wouldn't donate to...
Did you ever tell him the tip jar story?
No.
Oh, tell him.
I don't want to... It's enough.
I want his blood boiling a little bit come election day. I don't want him second guessing this stuff.
He might though give money to Governor of Maryland,
Hogan,
because he finds that Hogan is much more like an old school Republican.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like if you're asking me like who my favorite politician is at the moment, I have a hard time finding somebody other than Hogan, because he's like the most reasonable Republican out there.
Ugh.
And I'm not saying that I'm 100% behind everything that Hogan does, but I'm saying, like, as far as like I can't imagine that I would be able to live in Kentucky and be like, Mitch McConnell's pretty good at the end of the day. Like, he doesn't really screw around. Mitch McConnell does. Like,
yes.
My percentage of anger to or agree and disagree with McConnell would be way higher than it would be with Hogan, yeah.
I still just don't think that we are deep in it. I think if we were in Maryland, I'd have a lot more things to complain about. He just doesn't make national news as much, and the Baltimore Sun's not really looking into him, which is the only way I would be able to see anything, because I follow so many of them.
I also like how basically all the Republicans have left him alone. So it was like the national parties just backed away. It's just like they probably told Trump, like, whatever you do, don't just fucking say a goddamn word about Hogan.
No.
He's a Republican, and Maryland,
Democratic
we're
state.
never getting that back.
If he loses, it'll be 10 years.
If he loses, it's all your fault. That's literally how thin the margin is.
Yes.
Do not fucking do anything about this. Don't go crazy on loony Ben Ellis because it's only going to help his numbers.
I will say, Sean chimes in from the chat. One of those good Republicans has sadly passed away. John McCain. Check out last week's episode for my thoughts on John McCain.
I mean, John McCain was a fine Republican if you were along the party line.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He was more of the moderate Republican anyway.
I mean, the Maverick who voted with Trump 99% of the time.
I always found it funny, too, that John McCain, the Republican, and Joe Lieberman, the Democrat, and many people at times argued that John McCain should have been a Democrat.
Yeah.
And sometimes they argued that Joe Lieberman should have been a Republican.
Probably should have been a Republican.
They were both like on that line of like, you know,
in
like
fact,
John McCain in name only was a Republican for a while, and then for a name only for Lieberman was a Democrat.
And Lieberman ran as vice president with Kerry?
Yeah.
Yes. And they said that they put him on that ticket specifically for that, to try and attract some of those compassionate conservative Republicans.
Before Palin, they were talking about having it be McCain Lieberman.
Yeah.
So because they were really close friends. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Lieberman was actually the reason I didn't vote for Kerry.
I mean, I wouldn't have voted for
that.
Kerry.
Was literally much like Palin was the reason I didn't vote for McCain.
Yeah.
Like not wanting to be involved in that. Even that chance that something would happen, like,
hey, Democrats, if any of you think of voting or bringing Martin O'Malley on as vice president, no, I will vote for a Republican first. I will vote for Donald Trump before I vote for you and Martin O'Malley as your vice president.
Random Democrat and Martin O'Malley, Eric Garcetti and Martin O'Malley.
Doesn't matter who. Does not matter who. You could bring Martin Luther King back from the grave, run him as a Democrat. If he picks Martin O'Malley.
You could run Colin Kaepernick for president.
Yes.
If he picks Martin O'Malley as vice president, I'm out.
I'm voting for Trump. I'm voting for Trump.
I'm
burning
my Nike shit.
I'm going to vote for Trump to spite you for picking Martin O'Malley. All right? That's it.
It's just like when we were going into the election with Hillary and Trump, and it's just like, I just can't imagine that Hillary wins because so many people hate her. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like we go to the exit polls of the 2020 election. And it's just like, this is an overwhelming mandate of hating Martin O'Malley.
And Martin's just like, I don't think my political future's done. I think these things are cyclical. They'll come back around.
And the exit polls, everyone's saying they loved Cory Booker, but they just couldn't get behind that O'Malley guy.
Well, I hear what they're saying, and everyone's up for their opinion. Chicago mayor, it's up for grabs, right? Yeah, I can make Chicago. It's fine. I do really well with cities with a lot of murders, so yeah.
And by really well, I mean like set them up for failure for the next decade and a half.
Well, where could somebody else find a place where they're set up for failure?
Oh, probably talking about OTheAnthem.com, Corey OTheAnthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. Hey, it's me again. You can find more of my stuff at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendCB5 on Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm on Facebook. And guess what I realized today?
New video up.
No, I had everything going and never hit, like, make it public. Submit.
I saw Ant-Man pop up right before the episode here.
I was just like, oh, yeah, that didn't get done. So now it's up. Go check out my review for Ant-Man. And if you haven't seen it in theaters yet, well, maybe you've lost your chance. But Crazy Rich Asians, Black Klansman coming up. I was on set a lot recently, so things have gotten a little crazy. Mm-hmm. But now I'm back, and reviews should be coming out in a more regular order.
Cool. I don't, however. Oh wait, what are we doing here?
I don't know.
There we go. I don't like that you came into that outro with no enthusiasm. I will say that.
What do you mean?
When you're just like, I guess you could find it at OTheAnthem.com, Corey at OTheAnthem.com. You think
Well, the problem is that like it usually helps if I'm setting up the thing to the OTheAnthem.com.
Okay, fair enough. Yes.
So it's like if I was just like, hey, do you want to know where you can find a decade and a half of untold misery? OTheAnthem.com, Corey. Like.
Except for, if we waited for you to close out the show, we'd be waiting all damn night, and we're already an hour 10. And you can find more from me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Byrod's books.
And, of course, the chair is done on Wattpad. Been getting some good feedback on that. I shared it with people at work, and people enjoyed it at work. So I think you'll enjoy it, because those people have no reason to suck up to me about my writing. Maybe about everything else, but not about the writing. So you'll probably enjoy it. Check it out.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem Digital Network. For Corey and Carly, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Breaking that pool stick, coming at Kavanaugh.